Hello everybody. كنتمنى انكم تكونوا بخير وعلى خير. كنتمنى للجميع رمضان كريم. اذا هذا درس جديد بسلسله دروس الباكالوريا حول الconditionals. So if you think that conditionals are a bit confusing for you or a bit hard to learn, this video is for you. Okay, our lesson today, as I said, is about conditionals. As you might know, there are 4 types of conditionals in English. 4. We have conditional type 0, conditional type 1, conditional type 2, and conditional type 3. And we are going to see all of them today. We are going to have an overview, okay, and see how you can use them and when you can use them. Right, so we get started with conditional type 0 or type 0. So as you can see, we have here, I have cited just 2 examples, and we'll start from them and see how and when we can use conditional type 0. So example, if you heat butter, it melts. If you heat butter, it melts. Okay? As you can see here, this is what we call a scientific fact. Okay? It's been tested and proved, okay, and it's 100% true. It happens all the time, okay. So whenever you heat butter, it melts. So what happens when you heat butter? Of course, it melts. So scientifically, butter changes from a solid state to a liquid one, okay. So this is science. Science tells us that under the effect of heat or temperature, butter changes form, okay, from solid to liquid. Right. Now you can think of your own examples, more examples. Okay. For instance, if you boil water, what happens? If you boil water, it evaporates. Okay, this is also a scientific fact. Right. Now let's look again at the next sentence. When I listen to music, I relax. This is a fact about me. Okay, and it's 100% true. All the time, whenever I listen to my favorite music, I relax. Right. We said this is a fact of life. Right. You may also think about your own example. Okay, we can give more examples. For instance, when winter comes, some animals hibernate. What does it mean, hibernate? They go under the ground and they sleep for a long time. Example, bears. So when winter comes, bears hibernate. So this is automatic, and this is a fact of life. This is something that we have learned in life. Okay, right. Now, as you can see in the 2 examples, they follow a kind of grammatical pattern or rule or structure, which is it is made up of if plus subject plus simple present. Okay, in the first clause, or what we call also the condition clause. And as you can see here in the condition clause concerning type 0, you can start with if, or you can start with when. Okay, and this is actually the only conditional where you can use when. Okay, whereas in the other conditionals we use if. So in conditional type 0, you can use if or you can use when. And the rule is when you start in the condition clause, you start with if, then subject. In this case it's you, in the other case it's I, okay, and then plus simple present. The verb is in the simple present. Okay, base form is in the simple present. Right. And it's also made up of another clause. Okay, so it's a 2-part sentence with the first part is a conditional clause starting with if or when, and then separated by a comma. Okay, you start, you move to the next clause, which is what we call a result clause or consequence clause. Okay, and the verb in the consequence clause is also in the same tense. Okay, so this is the simplest, the easiest conditional to learn. If plus subject plus simple present, then subject plus simple present. So no complications whatsoever. This is an easy type of conditional. Some grammarians even think this is not a conditional. Why? Because it talks about things that are 100% true, all the time true. Okay, we can qualify them as scientific or just as facts. Okay, right. Now, we'll move to conditional type 1. Now, and I want you to pay attention and see the differences between the two. In conditional type 1, okay, we can just have a close look at these two sentences and then we'll try to explain. So, I will come to your party if you send me an invitation. Okay, I will come to your party if you send me an invitation. Here I have opted for the result clause. I started with the result clause and I have left the condition clause till the end. So I will come to your party if you send me an invitation. So the first thing you note is when you start with the result clause, you don't keep the comma. Okay, as in the first example. Okay, and in the second, we have commas. Here we don't have a comma. So for example, I relax when I listen to music. No comma should be used. Right, so I will come to your party if you send me an invitation. Now, comparing with conditional type 0, in conditional type 0 we have things that are certain. Okay, things that are always true. But this is not all the time true. I will come to your party is not all the time true. So it may happen or it may not happen, right? That's why we say we are talking about probabilities, probable things, okay? So here facts, true, all the time true, here sometimes true, can happen or may not happen, okay? Now I will come in the future, I will come to your party, it's like a promise actually. And it's not 100% true, so it's probable I will come to your party if you send me an invitation. So the condition is that you send me an invitation. Right. Now, we move to the next sentence. Let's have a close look at it. So if you work hard, and here I have started with the if clause or the condition clause. If you work hard, you will succeed. So as you note, I have started with the if clause and I have used a comma. If you work hard, you will succeed. Now, it's not all the time, guaranteed that you will work hard. Okay? Maybe you choose not to work hard. It's up to you. So if you work hard, if the condition is met, then the result will be the following. You will succeed. Okay? Now, as I said, these two sentences and more sentences, you can think of more sentences, talk about things that are probable or likely to happen. Things that are likely may happen, may not happen. Okay, as the difference with conditional type nil, in which things are all the time happening or that happen all the time and are all the time true. They are facts. Here we are not talking about facts, we are talking about probable events, things that may or may not happen. Okay, now the structure. Now let's look at how it is made. So I will come, will come, will come. This is simple future. Okay, and in the condition clause, send. Okay, if you reverse them, they become, for example, if you send, so if plus subject, you plus simple present. If you send me an invitation, I subject, simple future, will come. Okay, will come. Right, if you work hard, if you work, simple present, the verb work is in the simple present, you will succeed. Will succeed is the simple future. We have a modal verb will plus base form of the verb. Now, as I said, here we're talking about probabilities in either the present time or in the future time. And here we're talking about realities, things that have to do with the real world, okay? So there is no dreaming here, there is no wishing, there is nothing, it's just a condition. If it's met, the result will follow, okay? And it's probable, right? So that's it for these two conditionals. Later we'll be moving to conditional type 2 and type 3. We have covered conditionals type 0, conditional type 0 and conditional type 1. Okay, and it's really good to note that these two conditionals, type 0 and type 1, talk about realities, okay, things that are real. Okay, now to make a difference with the coming two conditionals, it's really good to note that these two conditionals are the opposite, they are unreal. So we are not talking about things that are real, we are talking about things that are imaginary. So starting with conditional type 2, okay, we'll study, let's have a close look at these two examples. So I have cited two examples for each conditional, okay, it will help us understand how and when to use these two, okay, conditionals. So let's look at the example. If I had a magic wand, okay, magic wand, عصا سحرية, okay. If I had a magic wand, I would kill the coronavirus. I would, okay. Why? Because it's causing a lot of harm. It's killing people. So it's like a kind of wish I have if only I had that magic wand. Okay. So if I had a magic wand, it refers to a kind of a hypothesis, okay? It's a hypothetical situation, okay? It's not real. I know I don't have magic wand, so I'm just imagining if I had it, okay? So here we are in the if clause, we are using the verb in the simple past, as you can see in the pattern form, if plus subject plus past simple, okay? This is a little bit tricky. Why? Because students know that when we use the simple past, we talk about the past. Here we are not talking about the past, we are just talking about kind of hypothetical present. Okay, if I had, it's like expressing wishes actually. So if I had a magic wand, this is what I would do. I would kill the coronavirus. I would kill the coronavirus. Nobody would, you know, tolerate this virus. It's killing people. So if I had a magic wand, I would kill the coronavirus. This would kill, okay, as you can see in the pattern form, subject plus would plus verb. Now it doesn't mean that I will kill, it means I would. So this is imaginary, as I said, this is hypothetical. Okay. Now let's look at the second example. If I were you, I would accept the job offer. Okay. Here, if I were you is a form we use to give advice. Okay. So somebody is getting a job offer and he doesn't know what to do. So maybe this is the best way I would try to give advice to somebody, a friend of mine, for instance, who has a problem. Okay. So I would say, if I were you, I know I'm not you, and here we are using were, okay? So in the previous video about wishes, we saw that the use of were, which is the subjunctive of the verb to be, okay? Plural form in the past doesn't mean really the past, but it means the present. If I were you now, I know I cannot be you, okay? So I'm just imagining me in your place, okay? If I were you, I would accept the job offer. This is what I would do. So what would you do if you were that person, okay? And what would you do if you had a magic wand? Okay, you can tell me what would you do if you had a magic wand, okay? Right. So in these two examples, we are talking about situations which are not real. Okay, as I said, unreal conditionals. These situations are not real and they are just hypothetical. I'm just hypothesizing, I'm just imagining something that is not real, that's not true. And sometimes it's even impossible, okay? impossible to come true, okay? So, right, so another thing to note is we are talking about the present and the future. So, the use of the simple past in the examples here doesn't mean the real simple past. It means I'm talking about now and I'm talking about the future. Right. Now, time to move to conditional type 3. Conditional type 3, let's consider these two examples. We start with the first one. We start with the first one. If she had taken an umbrella, okay, reality is she didn't take an umbrella. What happened is she got wet, okay? So if she had taken an umbrella, she wouldn't have got wet. She wouldn't have got wet. In this type of conditional, we are changing the verb form, okay? We are using the past perfect. So if plus subject plus the past perfect, which is made of the auxiliary verb had in the past, okay, and past participle, okay. We all studied past perfect. We know it's made up of two things, an auxiliary had plus past participle. So if I had taken, it is the past perfect of take. If she had taken an umbrella, she wouldn't have got wet. And then we have word, subject, plus word, plus have, plus past participle of the verb to get, which is got. So we say get, got. If she had taken an umbrella, she wouldn't have got wet. Now, here we explained, we said she didn't take the umbrella and she got wet. Okay, this is what happened in the past, in reality, and we're just hypothesizing a different situation. We are not satisfied with what happened because she got wet and she was really angry that she got wet. So she's just kind of hypothesizing if the opposite of what happened took place. So if she had taken an umbrella, she wouldn't have got wet. Now, next example, let's consider also this example. No thief would have broken into the house. Okay, no thief would have broken into the house. Here, reality is a thief broke into the house. Now, what happened? He had stolen my things. So if I had locked the door, so it was my fault. I didn't lock the door. Somebody went into the house or broke into the house and stole my precious things. So if I had locked the door, no thief would have broken into the house. So it was my fault. So here we're talking about a situation which expresses regret, in which I am having regret because I didn't lock the door. So somebody broke into the house. So this is about the past. And actually this is the only conditional that's about the past is conditional type 3. So compared with conditional type 2, which is about the present and future, conditional type 3 is about the past. So I'm just kind of imagining the opposite of what happened. Okay? And the pattern of these sentences that express conditional type 3 is if plus subject plus past perfect. If plus subject, as we have seen, if plus subject plus past perfect, comma, subject plus word plus have plus past participle. Okay, and it's possible to use the negation wouldn't sometimes. Okay, so when things happened, something happened, and I just imagine the opposite. Right. So you might think of your own examples. Okay, going back to conditional type 2, for example, if I had $1 million, I would buy a big house. So what would you do if you had $1 million? You can tell me in the comment section. What would you do if you had $1 million? Now here, you didn't work, you failed the exam. If you had worked harder, you wouldn't have failed the exam. Okay? Reality is you failed the exam. So that's all for now. So I hope I have helped you a little bit with these conditionals. Okay, by the way, these are not the only conditionals we have in English. We can also use mixed conditionals, but this is not the lesson about mixed conditionals, and it's a little bit advanced, and you don't need it for your baccalaureate exam. Okay, so hope I have succeeded in explaining things for you, helping you know when and how to use these conditionals. So That's all for now. So see you next time.
السلام عليكم. لا تنسوا الإعجاب بالفيديو والاشتراك في القناة تشجيعا لنا لنستمر بنشر المزيد إن شاء الله.